This is big. Can blockchain actually help governments spend money better? What if I told you there's one blockchain that's already doing it right now? Today, we're diving into Stellar, a blockchain that's not just about crypto, but making real-world impact through faster, cheaper, and more transparent payments. Let's break it down. All right, so here's the deal. Governments around the world, including the US, are sitting on a ton of cash, like a whole lot of cash. We're talking trillions. But moving this money around is slower than Grandma's Buick and eats up as much as 15% of the amount in fees. Imagine buying something, and the cashier tells you it's going to be 85 cents more because they have to move the money between banks. That's basically what's happening. It's slow, it's expensive, and it's still not even that safe. Sometimes the wrong people get the money, or none of us know where the money is going. But here's the plot twist. There's a new sheriff in town, and it's faster, cheaper, and more transparent. Yes, we're talking about blockchain. Now you might be thinking, wait, blockchain isn't that just for crypto? Well, yes, but also no. Because here's the thing, blockchain was invented for more than just crypto. It's a way to move information quickly and securely without a middleman. Think of it like sending a text instead of mailing a letter. In fact, one blockchain is already helping governments move billions of dollars around the world. Stellar Lumens aren't just a crypto to trade. They're making an impact. They've teamed up with the United Nations and other big players to move money faster and more safely. And it's not just talk. They're actually doing it. They're helping people in Ukraine, Argentina, and Bolivia get cash quickly when they need it most. So let's dive in and see how Stellar is changing the game for governments around the world. First off, why is this important? Well, imagine you're waiting for a tax refund from the government or hoping to get some financial help. You need that money and you need it now. But then you get the runaround. First, it goes to some office, then to another office, then you get a check in the mail, and then you have to deposit it. Takes forever. By the end, half of your money is gone because of high fees. And sometimes you don't even get the money because scammers grab it along the way. That's where Stellar steps in. With Stellar, you can get paid directly to your phone safely and quickly. No offices, no checks, no middlemen. Just you and your money. And here's the best part. Your record is safe and clear on the blockchain. So everyone from the government to you can see exactly where the money is and how it's being used. But hold up, you might be thinking this sounds too good to be true. How does Stellar make money if it's so much cheaper? Well, that's a great question. The truth is Stellar doesn't charge much for transactions. They're almost zero. And that means governments and organizations can pass those savings on to you. Plus, Stellar makes it easy to track where the money goes, which cuts down on waste and fraud. Now you're probably wondering, wait, how does Stellar compare to other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin? Well, think of Bitcoin as a luxury sports car. It's cool and exclusive, but also expensive and not that practical for everyday use. On the other hand, Stellar is like a Toyota Corolla. It's not as flashy, but it's much more practical and affordable for everyday use. In fact, Stellar was made with regular people in mind. They wanted to make a blockchain that helps everyday people with everyday tasks like sending money. Stellar Lumens aren't just a fun crypto to trade. They're a tool for change. They're making an impact in the world and helping people in need. Here's how it works. When you send or receive money, there are usually several middlemen involved, like banks, and each one takes a cut. That's where the fees come from. But with Stellar, transactions go directly from one person or organization to another without middlemen. This way, both the sender and receiver get more money and everyone is happy. But wait, there's more. Not only are transactions faster and cheaper, but they're also safer with Stellar. Scams and fraud are a big problem when moving money around. But on the Stellar blockchain, every transaction is recorded and can be checked by anyone. This keeps everyone honest and makes sure the money goes where it should. And here's the icing on the cake. Stellar is global. It doesn't care about borders or what kind of bank you use. You can send money anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. And it's not just for businesses or governments. Regular people can use it too. In fact, Stellar is made for everyone. It wants to be the easiest and cheapest way to send money around the world. You might be wondering, okay, it sounds great, but how is Stellar actually helping people? Well, let me tell you about the Stellar Disbursement Platform. It's a free tool that lets governments and organizations send money to lots of people at once. For example, if there's a disaster like a hurricane or an earthquake, Stellar can help deliver aid quickly to those who need it most. It's like having a superpower. But that's not all. Stellar also makes it easy to keep track of where the money goes. This way, you can be sure that your donations end up in the right hands. And if you're a recipient, you can feel confident knowing that the aid is coming directly from the source and not through a bunch of middlemen. And guess what? The Stellar Disbursement Platform is already being used to help people in need. The United Nations is using it to deliver aid in Ukraine during the war. They're sending cash directly to people's phones so they can buy what they need most. So far, Stellar has helped deliver over $5 million in aid. That's a lot of help. And it's not just about giving aid after a disaster. Stellar is also helping governments prepare for disasters. In Nepal, for example, the government uses Stellar to send money to families before a flood hits. They can use this money to move to safer places or prepare for the flood. This way, Stellar is helping to prevent disasters before they happen. Imagine being able to predict and avoid disasters just by using technology. That's the kind of impact Stellar is making. And the best part, it's saving a ton of money. The UN says using Stellar could save up to $60 million a year. That's a lot of money that can be used for other important things. You might be thinking, okay, it sounds great, but what kind of money can you actually use on Stellar? Well, the answer is pretty much any kind of money. Stellar supports a variety of currencies, but it also supports stable coins. Stable coins are a type of cryptocurrency that is backed by a real currency like the US dollar. This means that the value of the stable coin is pegged to the value of the dollar, which makes it a stable and trustworthy option for governments and organizations to use. One of the most popular stable coins on Stellar is USDC. USDC is a cryptocurrency that is backed by the US dollar and is one of the most widely used stable coins in the world. Another popular stablecoin on Stellar is the Euro Tether or EUR. As the name suggests, EURT is backed by the euro and is a popular choice for governments and organizations in the European Union. It's not just about sending and receiving money either. Stellar is also helping to make cross-border payments faster and cheaper. Cross-border payments are transactions that involve two parties in different countries, and they're usually more complicated and take longer to process than domestic payments. But with Stellar, transactions are settled almost instantly and with very low fees. This makes it easier and more cost-effective for governments and organizations to pay for imports or send money to partners in other countries. Here's a real-life example. Let's say a government agency in the United States needs to pay for supplies being imported from a company in Europe. Traditionally, this payment would have to go through a series of intermediaries, such as banks and currency exchanges, which can take several days to process and can result in high fees due to currency conversions and other charges. However, with Stellar, the payment can be settled directly between the two parties in just a few seconds. And because Stellar uses a consensus model that does not rely on a central authority, it is not subject to the same regulations and restrictions that can sometimes delay or block cross-border payments. By using Stellar, governments and organizations can save time and money on cross-border payments, while also reducing the risk of fraud and other complications that can arise with traditional methods. If you're a techie, you might be wondering how Stellar actually works under the hood. Don't worry, I got you covered. At its core, Stellar is a decentralized network that uses a consensus model called the unique node list. This means that instead of using a central authority to validate transactions, Stellar uses a network of computers that agree on the validity of transactions. This makes it more efficient and less prone to fraud or manipulation. Stellar also uses a cryptocurrency called lumens, or XLM, which is used to pay for transactions on the network. These transactions are processed by validators, which are computers that run the Stellar protocol and ensure the network security. When you send a transaction on Stellar, it is broadcast to the network of validators who check its validity and then add it to a transaction pool. Once enough validators have approved the transaction, it is added to a ledger, which is a public record of all transactions on the network. The great thing about Stellar is that it is open source, which means that anyone can contribute to its development and help improve the protocol. This has led to a large and active community of developers and users who are constantly working to find new ways to improve and expand the Stellar ecosystem. So if you're a developer, you can join the community and help build the next generation of Stellar applications. There are a ton of reasons why governments around the world are taking notice of Stellar. First off, it's lightning fast compared to other systems. It's almost instant. And speed equals efficiency, which means governments can spend more time focusing on other important stuff. Then there's the cost savings. Stellar's super cheap compared to traditional systems, which eat up a ton of money in fees and wasted resources. Finally, it's all about transparency and security. Every transaction is recorded on the blockchain, which means no more hidden agendas or shady dealings. It's all out in the open where it should be. Leaders around the world are paying close attention to Stellar because it's the future of government spending. It's faster, cheaper, and more transparent. And that's why it's not just a cool tech project. It's a real game changer for governments around the world. With Stellar, governments can focus on what they do best, serving their people. And that's why I'm excited about the potential of this technology and what it means for the future of our world. But remember, investing involves risk. Do your own research and never blindly follow someone else's advice. That's why I'm here to help you navigate this exciting world of crypto and blockchain. So if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and tell me what you think in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about Stellar and other blockchain projects, subscribe for more updates. All right, until next time, happy investing and stay curious.